If you want to come here legally, practice a peaceful version of Islam, and blend into our society by adopting the treasured American values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, you are welcome to do so. But if you believe that Sharia law supersedes American law, you should be deported immediately. Mr. President, I come to the floor today to talk about one of the greatest threats facing our country today, Islamic extremism. 24 years ago, September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 innocent Americans were murdered in a coordinated terrorist attack carried out by radical Islamic extremism. Those of us who lived through that day remember exactly where we were when those planes hit the buildings. That day changed this country forever. We were smacked in the face with the reality that there are people who are so hell-bent on destroying America that they will kill themselves just to try to harm us. In the aftermath of 9/11, we created the Department of Homeland Security. Basically, we went to war. We spent the following 2 decades unsuccessfully attempting to westernize the Middle Eastern countries most responsible for this attack. We strengthened surveillance and gave up personal freedoms in the hopes of preventing another large-scale attack. But 20 years later, we have to ask, have we made any progress at all in rooting the evil of radical Islam out of this country? Have we done it? Let's be honest. Radical Islamic terrorism didn't go away after 2001. In 2009, 13 people were killed in a mass shooting at Fort Hood by an Army psychiatrist who was radicalized by Islamic teachings. In 2013, 3 were killed and hundreds injured when 2 brothers detonated bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. They were inspired by their radical Islamic beliefs. Then in 2015, an ISIS-inspired couple killed 14 people and injured 22 at a party in Southern California. In 2016, Omar Muteen killed 49 people and injured 53 more at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Muteen pledged allegiance to ISIS during this attack. It continued in 2019 when a Saudi military trainee opened fire at the Pensacola Naval Air Station, killing 3 Americans, including 1 young man from my home state of Alabama. Earlier this year in Louisiana, a deranged person drove a truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing 14 people. To no one's surprise, he said he was inspired by the Islamic State. These attacks, they weren't just against people, they were an all-out assault on Western culture, freedom, and the values that we hold dear to our heart. Islamic extremism and Sharia law openly call for the destruction of America and Western culture. Let's be clear about this. The thousands of terrorists we have allowed to enter our country have brought their anti-American rhetoric and ideology with them. We're seeing this in cities like Minneapolis, Dearborn, Portland, Chicago, and even New York City. The leading candidate for mayor in New York City is a far-left socialist who sympathizes with extremist groups like Hamas. But this insanity, sadly, isn't limited to New York. We have elected members of Congress who openly support the radical Islamic terrorist organization Hamas. Just yesterday, we paused to remember the more than 1,200 innocent people, including 40 Americans who were slaughtered by Hamas terrorists in Israel on October the 7th, 2023. Hamas literally means Islamic Resistance Movement. It's been 2 years, and 2 U.S. Congresswomen, Omar and Tlaib, they still refuse to condemn these heinous crimes in Israel. These 2 members were elected to represent American citizens, and they are sympathizing with Islamic terrorists instead. It's almost hard to believe, but it's true, and they don't hide it. We're allowing people with extremist ideologies, people who hate America values, to not only live here, but to hold positions of power and influence our government. It's un-American, and it's an insult to the millions of Americans who have sacrificed their lives for this country and its freedom. You know, if you think this poisonous ideology won't affect your way of life, just look at Europe. The United Kingdom, once a proud nation that helped save the world from Nazi tyranny, has essentially lost its identity. It's gone. Mass migration has destroyed their society. There is no freedom of speech. Crime is through the roof. And openly anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas riots have become a regular occurrence. This is in Europe. This is in the UK. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer recently appointed a person with extreme pro-Palestinian views as Home Secretary. In the UK, the Home Secretary is in charge of protecting national security, ensuring law and order, and overseeing immigration. What a surprise. So the person who is in charge of immigration and national security for the UK is openly a pro-terrorist. If we aren't careful, the United States will look like Europe in 10 years or less. It's coming. We can't bury our heads in the sand about this any longer. The Quran openly calls for violence against non-Muslims. Openly. Radical Islamists take these instructions literally and to use them to justify terror. It's not politically correct to say this, but it's the damn truth. In Muslim countries that follow Sharia law, it is considered normal for women to be raped, trafficked, and forced to marry as young as age of 6. Pedophilia is rampant, and women are lucky if they are allowed to drive. Think about this. More than 62,000 Christians have been slaughtered since 2000 by radical Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. And just this year alone, more than 7,000 Nigerian Christians have been murdered because of their faith alone. You can't turn on the TV without hearing about Israel's so-called mass genocide of Palestinians every day. And yet when it comes to 62,000 Christians being slaughtered by radical Muslims, it's radio silence. This extreme ideology is straight from the pit of hell, and it has no place in American society. We are blessed that freedom of worship is a constitutional guaranteed right in this country. That's what our forefathers fought for. If you want to come here legally, practice a peaceful version of Islam, and blend into our society by adopting the treasured American values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, you are welcome to do so. But if you believe that Sharia law supersedes American law, you should be deported immediately.
It is indeed a poisonous ideology, as he said. It's insane. Quran 9:29 commanded Muslims to fight non-Muslims. It says, fight all those who don't believe in Allah. Fight those who don't accept Islam as their religion, as the religion of Allah, as the only one true religion, until the whole world become Muslims or become your slaves and pay you jizya. Thus, could you imagine that insane ideology? A poisonous ideology. Islam is not a peaceful religion. It is a religion that sows enmity between man and man. And Quran is a book that sows enmity amongst men. In fact, it commanded Muslims to see non-Muslims as their enemies and to hate them, to unalive them. Let it not be that I'm the one saying it. Hear from the Muslims themselves.
It's from our religion that we have to hate them for the sake of Allah. Al-adawa, enmity and hatred, meaning we're enemies. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't love each other.
Because no matter what they did, they're still kuffar. They took her in. They took the Muslims in. They treated them with respect and protected them. They would have surrendered them. Yet she still referred to them as the people hated, meaning the people we hate. The deed in Tawheed remains a barrier no matter what good they do.
Did you hear? This is what a religious book teaches people. Could you imagine such insanity? To the extent that it teaches them, no matter how good you as non-Muslim can be to a Muslim, that they will never love you. Instead, they will hate you. Even if you welcome them to your own house with open arms, with respect, show them favor, give them the right, they will never value it. You can hear it from themselves. You can hear it from his mouth. That you will still be their enemy. And their target is to take over your land. If they can't, it's better to destroy it. As they are doing in Europe today. That is what the scripture says. Let favor be shown to the wicked. They will not learn righteousness. Even in the land of uprightness, they will still do unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. The scripture said it. Prophet Isaiah said it. The favor is being shown to them. You welcome them to your house, they want to unalive you. And they are very selfish to the extent they don't even recognize the favor you have shown to them. The world needs to avoid Islam. Islam is not a religion of peace. There is no good Islam will do to the world, rather to destroy the world. This same religion and people migrated into Nigeria. But today, they are the problem of Nigerians. They are the very cancer that want to destroy Christians in Nigeria. They unalive them in dozens, in thousands. The leaders are not saying anything because they are in the power. And those in power who are not Muslims, their mouths are seared because they are all corrupted. That's why today they talk about Gaza, 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 Gaza. Why they have finished Nigerian Christians. Nobody says anything. They see the social media. Each day by day, they murder Christians in Nigeria in dozens, in thousands. Nobody is saying anything because they are in power. After all, it is Muslim ticket. You see that? The world need to put to an end this evil, this murderous cult. The world need to put it to an end. This is what these selfish men calls a way of life. A way of life because they are all bloodthirsty. The only religion that said other religions will not exist, not by peace, not by its good deeds, that it is showing people. Because your good deed will let people know that you are following the right way and they will join you. But Islam is saying that other religions will not exist by its violence and its murderous act. This is what they call a way of life. Come out of Islam. Go out of Islam. It's a bloody murderous cult.